and a big welcome to everyone, and thank you for tuning in wherever you are in the world. My name is Michael Yue. My pronouns are he and him. I'm our GM for Google Hong Kong, based in beautiful Hong Kong. I Am Remarkable is a Google initiative that strives to empower everyone, particularly women and underrepresented groups, to celebrate their achievements in the workplace and beyond. And I've personally had this chance to attend the workshops several years ago, and I found it so powerful. It's a great reminder to each of us that it's okay to speak about your accomplishments with authenticity and confidence. And I'm delighted to be hosting this talk today as part of the I Am Remarkable Week 2021. And for those of you who are not familiar with this event, I Am Remarkable Week is a digital experience celebrating the power of diversity, inclusion, and allyship, while encouraging everyone to celebrate their own achievements. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Iza Calzado for a special talk at Google. Iza is a multi-awarded actor and host from the Philippines. She is the co-founder of She Talks Asia and a WWF ambassador. Iza is known as an advocate to spread light and love by helping people realize they are not alone and to empower them to act as a collective. Iza, welcome. I'll hand it over to you to say a hello to our audience.
Thank you very much, Michael. Hello to you and hello to everyone who's watching this, wherever you are in the world. My name is Iza. Michael has already made such a very powerful introduction, so I don't know what else to say. Thank you for that, Michael. I guess taking cues from Michael, my pronouns are she, her, and I'd like to say that to add on to what he said, I am a human being just like you. That's who I am. So thanks for having me here, and I'm really thrilled to be part of this event. I'm so honored to be part of the I Am Remarkable event, and then of course for Google, such an amazing platform. So thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thanks, Iza. And I think it's so nice that you just remind all of us. Actually, we're all human, right? And I think in our pre-conversations and in getting caught up with each other, I'm really excited. I think for the group to hear your story. And also to connect with you as well. So in the spirit of self-advocacy and recognizing the hero in you, share with us what makes you remarkable.
Thank you. I am remarkable. I am remarkable because I have embraced all of my strengths and my flaws, and have recognized that my struggles, and that means all the painful experiences that I've had in my life, all the things that I considered shameful about my life or myself, may it be my body or something about me, they served as the best teachers in my life. They've helped in my growth. And now I have taken full control of that narrative, and I will no longer let them hold me back, rather help me, propel me forward. And where I'm at now, I consider my flaws as my strengths. And that is how I have recognized the hero in me. And that is how I am stepping into my own power. And that's what makes me extraordinary.
Yeah, and I think that is so amazing, Iza.
Thank you. And I giggle. And I giggle after I say that, because part of me is like, did I just say that? and but you have to own it, because you are the first one that has to believe it. And if you don't, no one else will. That's the truth.
Yeah, you have to own it, and I think even in our catch-ups, I think as we smile, as we giggle, it's infectious, right? And it reminds me actually of what my parents said to me, many years ago. You smile, and the world will also smile back at you as well, right? And so I think this is really cool, right?
Thank you. You get what you give.
You get what you give, and thank you for sharing that. And I hope our audience can also just take a moment to reflect and think about what makes them remarkable too. So, Iza, you are well respected and loved by people across Asia and the world. And along with
Hold
winning,
on. Sorry, Michael. Did you just say Asia in the world? Let me take a moment. Let me accept that.
accept it, enjoy
Thank
it,
you.
because it
Accept
is
it.
the truth.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and
Okay.
along with your multiple awards and your various roles as, an actress, a producer, a model, a television host, you name it, the list goes on. You've been on this journey for 20 years now, and we've seen various ups and downs. You've seen various ups and downs. So tell us a little bit more about that journey that you've been on.
How much time do I have? I thought this was just an hour because it's going to take about 3 days.
Yeah,
I guess in a nutshell, in my 20 years in the business, I guess let's say that when I got into acting, I was a very lost kid, you know, and I had no direction. I didn't do well in school. I didn't have a bright future. Let's put it that way. The year was 2001, and my mother died. And then shortly after she died, I landed a Pantene commercial. And that was in 2002, I shot it. And then the, I believe that it was an opportunity, and I seized the day when more opportunities came. And that was 2002 when I started acting. And I didn't know what I was doing. I had never taken acting classes, workshops. I did do a year and a half of acting when I was younger. That was it. And so I learned by doing. I never went to school for it. And I was a very insecure girl because I was obese, hitting over 220 pounds in my teens. And I had lost weight. And of course, now you're in this industry where everyone's perfect. So I was very insecure and willing to do anything, just to kind of be loved and accepted and make it in this industry. And and then now we're here. The year is 2021, and I'm still here. I'm still acting, and I love my job. I love my job, and I'm grateful that I get to do this, including this interview with you, to connect with you, to connect with our audience today. This is even beyond what I even dreamt of as a child. You know, when you daydream in your classroom, I didn't even think of this. And so let's just say that where I'm at now is, I think I am living my dream and fulfilling my purpose. And not to say that I don't have other dreams. I have a lot. And I
yeah.
continue to dream, and I continue to try and fulfill whatever purpose I have every day or in life. So that's where I'm at. That's in a nutshell. Just so we can move forward. But that's
Yeah,
been my journey.
and I also think that how you look at each day, right, and you treat it as the best day, right, and we still all have goals, and we'll get there eventually, but each day is unique and beautiful, and I think you live and breathe that as well.
Thank you. I think you do too. I've heard you speak, Michael, and you carry with you a lot of positivity, a lot of positive energy, and you speak about purpose as well. And so I know that in some ways we've never really met in person, but I feel like we are aligned in a lot of the things we believe in. So it's really amazing that we get to connect today through I Am Remarkable.
Yes.
And you are a remarkable person as well. I know this is not about you, but I just want to say this. Like,
Well, thank you.
I really love your energy. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you. And I think that journey always has ups and downs, as sort of we talked about. And last year, I was reading online that in March 2020 you were hospitalized, right, with pneumonia and subsequently diagnosed positive with COVID-19. And after 1 year, as we look at the world and the cases around the world, surging again in some parts, you took to social media and you encouraged everyone who's going through these struggles to fight to survive. So, share a little bit about what you went through during that period, and you always have great insights around physical and mental well-being. So tell me a little bit about that too.
Michael, when you said earlier that every day I seem to embody like being grateful for that day because every day is a gift. When I was hospitalized for COVID, and this was when COVID was, oh, there I am. Yeah, COVID was new. We didn't know much about it. And as soon as I got to the hospital, the doctor in the ER said, if you came in about 2 days later, I don't know if we could have done anything else for you.
Wow.
It was that. And even without a test proving that I had COVID, they knew. They said all the signs were pointing to COVID. We just don't have the results yet because at that time there was so much backlog in the Philippines. It took I think 7 days or 8 days before I got confirmation that I did have COVID. But I was almost brought to the ICU because my oxygen levels went down so much, and I just have a family friend doctor who was really my angel, Dr. Garcia, and he said maybe that's not the best idea for her right now. He's a heart surgeon actually, so he said take her to my unit, the telemetry unit, and we'll have nurses look after her and make sure that she's okay. And then while I was in the hospital, I think on my third or fourth day there, they found a bacterial infection called Acinetobacter baumannii, which is normally a hospital-acquired bacteria that was also in my lungs. So I was being treated with for a virus and a bacterial infection. So they were both in my lungs. So it was really a tough time for me, physically and mentally. The only thing I would have to say that was different in terms of my COVID story and being hospitalized is that because it was the beginning, they were a little more lenient with regards to having somebody stay with you. So my husband was actually in the room with me, which people may be like, what, why? Because he never got sick. He never got any symptoms. But now we both have antibodies. So we're like, oh, okay, so you got it too. But, I was very lucky in that sense. So I had an extra nurse who was full-time. He was my nutritionist because we had doctors really begging for me to eat. And, when you're there, I couldn't taste anything. I couldn't eat. And I had to really physically force myself to eat. Tell myself that I'm going to get better because it was such a tough battle. And I could barely even sit down. Like you saw a photo and I was already seated. That was, I think, my 5th day in the hospital or 6th day in the hospital. So I was kind of getting better in that photo. So it's not like we were taking photos every day, to document. And our hindsight is always 2020. I was like, we could have made a documentary, because someone was actually in the room. But anyway, it was a tough battle, and I prayed. I'm Catholic. I believe in God. I believe in a lot of things. But whatever was thrown my way, I would just do that. I would listen to Deepak Chopra meditation, whatever I could just cling on to. And I remember because in a hospital, I don't know, in the Philippines, not all the hospitals actually have a window, but my room actually had this glass window. And when I could, after I think the 5th day, I would go to the window and look out, and there were trees. And then I would feel the sun on me, and I would just ask it to nourish me. And that's what it was like. Like you're just asking to be healed, and you realize so much about life, Michael. And that's why I say every day is a gift, because there was a point when I wasn't sure if, tomorrow was never promised, they say. And I really felt that, like I wasn't sure if tomorrow I'll still be here. And you realize, what's all this for? Like all the material things, bags, shoes, whatever, right? I mean, even the stuff that I work hard for, it's meaningless if you're not alive. So it was
That is
really a
true.
huge wake up call for me,
Yeah.
because they say, I take pride in eating well, exercising, but honestly, I didn't respect my body enough because I wasn't sleeping enough, because I was working too much. So, you know, we glorify hard work, but
Yep.
I think we need to glorify rest just as much, because it is as valuable, if not
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
Yeah. It's how your body recharges. And when I hear about your story and I connect that back to even, like with COVID, we don't travel much anymore, right? And so we
Yeah.
try to find this time to connect with different colleagues, even within Google. And yeah, many of them actually have gone through a very similar experience of, catching it, recovering it, going through symptoms, and, just really having this realization that every day is precious, and really taking better care of our health as well. And so that's something that I've definitely taken away, even though, because we're all human, we always sometimes sacrifice sleep or
Oh, yeah.
exercise, all the things that we know are really important for us, right?
Even when we know it, we still
And
do it. I mean,
yeah,
and then you know what? Well, you have to forgive yourself. You have to practice self compassion, because, again, I'll go back. I'm a human being, just
yes,
like you. Oh,
yes,
yeah.
just like all of us.
Just
Um,
like all of you.
so to uplift women in Asia globally, you co-founded She Talks Asia as a platform, which really empowers intelligent dialogue and discourse around topics of women's issues and personal development and success strategies. What was your inspiration behind starting this community?
Thanks, Michael. To be perfectly honest, I wasn't part of the main founders. So if I'm present to you, She Talks Asia, like Michael said, we are a group of women, 5 women, and the first founders are Vicky Herrera, Sarah Meyer Heredia, and Lynn Pinubu, who started this in 2017 because they just felt that there needed to be a safe space for women to
Mm-hmm.
connect and talk about issues that they felt were very relevant at that time, that needed to be discussed, and to just connect women and
Mm-hmm.
somehow hold space for women and allies to continue stepping into their power through collective sharing and learning. And that's really how it came about. So they held the first conference in 2017, and most of them are my friends except Lynn at that time. And I had the idea for a body love conference, because that was really what I was going through because of
Mm-hmm.
my history. And
Yep.
so that was my battle, and I reached out to them just shortly after their first conference, which was called Every Girl Can. And I said, can we do a body love conference together? And then it was going to be She Talks Asia and Iza Calzado, like a collab. And then I realized I'm learning a lot from these women and I want to be part of this. Like, so I joined. I actually pitched myself because we were pitching to brands, and then I was in that boardroom and I had never done that before. And I was thinking, I like this. Why am I not part of this? I went like that. I was just,
Yeah.
that's how I am. Like, out of nowhere, I just said that. And then that's how I became part of the group. And since then, since 2018, we've been working together. And like I said earlier, we have space for our community. We have experiences. So we amplify messages of empowerment, diversity, and inclusion by creating events,
Yeah.
products, and experiences that
Yeah.
focus on authentic connection, genuine dialogue, and equal representation. And we'd like to think that we are also an impact agency. So we work
Right.
with brands to give them an avenue to advance the fight for equality by developing strategic advocacies and grassroots programs, which are tough right now, to be honest. Grassroots
Yeah.
programs are tough right now, but I have faith that we will get back there soon. And that push the conversation forward and help, hopefully, accelerate social change.
Yeah. And I also really love the point that you are making around, just surrounding yourself with um, great people too, right? Who have similar purpose, similar goals, right? And working together as a collective to go. And you know, 1% at a time, right? It doesn't even have to be a large scale. It's just making a difference 1% at a time. And I think that is just, you know, really powerful, and creating that platform for people to connect is just really
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Michael. And on that point, I just want to say you're right. That's really what I realized when I'm learning so much from these women. And it's really, there's a saying that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like when you surround yourself with people who you aspire to be like, or you can learn from, the, you, it helps in your growth and your evolution. And I guess you also said takes one person at a time. You change one person at a time. When you speak of purpose, sometimes you feel like, oh, it has to be something grand,
Yeah.
something great, right? And you get so stuck in this pressure to do something big
Yes.
for your community or your family, your country, for mankind. And you
Yeah.
know what? If you can, then that's great. Good on you. Then that's really
Yeah.
that's what you're meant to do. But I'll quote Mother Teresa. And she said, not everyone can do great things, but we can all do small things with great love. And I
Yes.
always remind myself that when, I feel the pressure to do more and do something big, and I recognize maybe that's just my ego talking, because really it just takes one person, and it's that person, it's a domino effect, really. You
Yeah.
make someone's life better today, that person in effect makes someone else's life better, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's
And
change.
yeah, and I think it's interesting, right? Because, you know, we all want to hopefully surround ourselves with good people who have common purpose. Yet sometimes we are our own harshest critics as well, right? And you know, there's always this feeling of inadequacy, and and I think, you know, one of the big takeaways from the I Am Remarkable workshop when I went through it was, you know, it's not bragging if it's based in fact, right? And you know, don't be too hard on yourself, and have confidence in your inner voice. And so, you know, tell me a little bit about this and how you overcome some of these challenges through your history and your journey as well.
Um, you know, Even with this, I'll be very honest with you, and that's how I flow. Even when I was called for this, I am remarkable. Am I remarkable? Like, you start asking yourself, like, what, really? They think I'm remarkable? Like, what makes me remarkable? Like, but am I really remarkable? There's like an imposter syndrome there. They call it that, right? And it's like, am I enough?
Yeah.
But then you said it. Wait, I have worked on myself for years, and I'm not just talking about losing weight. Come on, it's just one thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I've I've overcome a lot, and I continue to do so, and I continue to work on myself, and I continue to chip away at things that I need to work on,
Yeah.
and I should pat myself on the back for that. And I've clocked in so many hours on set, and I still continue to take classes, and when I can, and I want to learn. I'm hungry to learn, because I know I'm far from where I want to be, and I have
Yeah.
so much to learn. And but that shouldn't take away from having that confidence to say that, hey, I am worthy. Hey,
Yeah.
I am enough, and I have achieved a lot, and to feel good about it,
Yeah.
and to just really embrace it and own it. And that voice in your head, that critical voice in your head, it may never go away. It'll always be there. But
Yeah.
I'd like to that critical voice, I'd like to counter with a compassionate voice, with
Yeah.
a kind one, because that also should never go away,
Right.
because that's what's gonna make life easier for you, and really through tough times, that's
Yes.
really what you'll need.
And it reminds me of like a dialectic, I think they call it, where it's both can coexist. So on one end, you know that there is room for improvement, but definitely have it like not take away from actually what you've accomplished and being very confident about that as well. Maybe if I can come back to 2018, because you touched on this very briefly in our last chat around the body love revolution.
I hope you don't mind. I'm drinking water because I'm always thirsty, guys.
That's okay. Yeah,
Cheers.
And it aims to celebrate each other's unique bodies, imperfections included, and send a message of self-love and addressing women's insecurities with their bodies. And so before we get to sharing the experience, let's take a quick look at a video.
I love my body.
I am grateful for my body.
Nagpapasalamat ako sa
Muscles ko. For these arms, this pata. I am grateful for my scar, my thighs,
my dark skin,
My nose.
my arms, my breasts,
my stretch marks, my height.
I love my legs.
I love my hair.
I love my feet.
I love my height.
I am grateful.
So grateful.
I am grateful for
My big, beautiful eyes.
They've been a part of me, and they are me.
I am so grateful for my body.
I'm thankful for the body I was given.
Yes,
That was. I was about to put. Hello, we're live.
and we're
I
back,
thought
just
we were
like
going to
that.
complete this. It was supposed to be a whole thing, a 1-minute thing, and we're back.
And we're back, and welcome back. And you touched on this, right? I mean, pitching the crew, Body Love Revolution. Tell me about this campaign and why it's so important for you.
Thank you. So in 2017, or even before that, okay, in 2017, without it being bragging, because it is a fact, I won an award in Osaka, an international award, my first, and it was a dream come true. Like, I've always wanted to win and be recognized internationally. But then for some reason, I felt there was an emptiness to whatever it was I was doing. I was like, okay, and then what? Okay, I got this. And that was around the time that She Talks was doing their first conference. And I was like, I wonder why I wasn't invited. These are my friends. Like, do I not have a story to share? And I realized I do have a story to share, but I'm not doing anything about it. Like, I'm not actively doing anything about it. And there were plans in my head way before of wanting to take my story to like high school, grade school, say grade 7, grade 8, like, and talk to girls and talk to them about body issues and insecurities, and just to share my story and let them know that they're not alone. Because at that age, you think that you're the only one going through these insecurities. You think you're the only one that's imperfect. And so I wanted to share that message. I just didn't know how. And that's how it started. And I realized maybe that emptiness is because there was no purpose to the success. And that's why it felt kind of almost meaningless, right? So they say success without purpose is meaningless. So that's how it started. It was really me, I think, also trying to heal from just years and years of beating myself up for not feeling beautiful enough, perfect enough. My loose skin, my stretch marks, thinking that, they hold me back, like I said in my intro. So even that, and I knew, because in this industry, you'll see the most beautiful women, or it's mostly women, to be honest, but even guys. And they, because of the industry and being in the public eye and being scrutinized and judged so much, they're so hard on themselves. We are so hard on ourselves. And I saw it, and I was like, if we're going through this, then everybody must have something that they're, insecure about, or maybe no longer, but before they did. And so just had that idea of of just doing a body love conference, and it just resonated so much. And around this time, Instagram, I guess we call it influencers, were popping up. And I'm not just talking about the likes of Ashley Graham, who of course is one of the faces for body positivity. But to me, I mean, I see her and I understand like the size. But to me, that's not my issue anymore. Like my size, yes, of course, who doesn't want to lose about 5 pounds, right? But for me, like my issue was being this big girl who lost weight, and I couldn't see myself in any of the celebrities for sure, or any of these actors that I looked up to. But I saw myself in these now like key opinion leaders that were popping up on Instagram, and they were celebrating their jiggly thighs and arms and their stretch marks. And I was like, I feel seen. And I guess in some ways I also wanted to show people that, yeah, I'm an actress and I'm supposed to look perfect. And you know what? I'm also part of the problem, because for years, most of the image that they saw of me was photoshopped, heavily photoshopped. And I just wanted to be free and say, this is who I am. Of course, it doesn't mean you have to be naked, right? And show everything, but just show parts, and or even just talk about it. And that's what I did. And it's just, I think, because it's so personal and everyone's got something that they're insecure about, it helped make people, at least in our country, or whoever came across my story, it just deeply resonated with them. And then I guess it made them feel that they're not alone. And and it's really that. So that's how it started.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people admire you for just being so upfront about your story and for sharing with such vulnerability. I'll do a plug here. In like, there's a lot of great videos where you actually talk about your story in much more depth than we have here. And so I would really encourage people, I think, to go and find that and hear the story as well. If there's one thing if you would share with the group here, who they may be experiencing similar issue, what's the one thing you would say to them?
Body love. If it's just body love, are we just talking about body love?
Yeah.
One thing, just one thing. Everyone's got something. Be kind to yourself. Be kind. And it's hard to do. Self-compassion is hard to practice, but it is so important, and it takes courage to love yourself. I think it takes courage and compassion to love oneself, but it's so important. But in the end, know that it doesn't happen overnight.
No, it's I don't think it ever stops, right? And you'll will always have this tug and pull that we need to go through.
And things may happen along the way. I'll tell you, Michael, there are things that I haven't talked about that, like just when you think you've accepted yourself, boom, something new happens. Or like, let's say one day, if I'm blessed and when I'm ready and I'm blessed to have a child, I know my body's going to go through more changes. So that's something, again, that women have to deal with, right? And that's really a lot. And that's it. But then you just, I guess, you arm yourself with that. You should have these tools, and it takes practice. It takes practice, really.
Yep, agreed. Well, you also experienced mental health challenges in your childhood, and as early as 6th grade, you were diagnosed with childhood depression. And you've openly, and very bravely, I think, shared some of the significant life events that a lot of people find hope and power in that story. And so, share a little bit about how you're so resilient through all of this.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging my resilience. It's not something that I even knew I had until people said I had it. Um, so yes, as you said, when I was young, I was diagnosed with depression. I didn't even know I was depressed. So apparently that's why I was eating. I turned to food for comfort. So I grew up in a very unstable home because my mother had mental health issues, and her last diagnosis was that she was bipolar, but she went through several. She was misdiagnosed several times. But growing up, it was a tough environment for a child. So I was very confused, and I guess I was in a lot of pain, and maybe that's why I found comfort in food. So the obesity was really just, of course, we love food, but then it's also because I was turning to food because food was the friend. And I I don't remember taking meds for it, but or ever going back to a therapist regularly.
Yep.
And then eventually lost my mother to suicide in 2001. And that was a very painful uh, painful loss.
Mhm.
It shakes you to the core when something like that happens. It's a wake up call. And in the I said this earlier. Before that, I I was a lost soul. Let's put it that way. And that prompted me to wake up and realize that I actually have life and I should make something of the life that I'm given. And my body issues, they're actually a mental health issue. It's the feeling of inadequacy, of not feeling enough, not feeling worthy. And I realized that that's why I had to speak up about it. But you see, I had to first talk about the body aspect of it and then realize, oh, it's a mental health issue. And oh, it ties in with everything that I've gone through. Um, and I guess that's why I openly share these things as well, because I want people to know that you're not alone. And maybe, I'm not diagnosed with any condition except insomnia. I'll be honest. I have a hard time sleeping. And it's not even because of anxiety. I think I just have too much energy. So I really don't know. But yeah, I've even with that, I had to, it was tough for me to go to a psychiatrist and ask for meds because it felt like a step towards my mother's path.
Yeah.
And this was in 2019. But I had to tell myself that no, just because you're asking for help and taking meds that make you sleep, it doesn't mean you'll turn out like your mother. You are still in full control of your narrative. And I think you asked about how am I so resilient. I've had to think about that. Where did it come from? and and maybe it's because from a very young age I've had to face a lot of difficulties. And perhaps like a muscle is stretched,
Yeah.
I became elastic because of that. Let's just think about it that way. Maybe I'd like to think about it that way. I started young. Like
Yes.
I dealt with a lot at a young age. And I also would like to say my mom, even even if she went through that and it was tough to be around her, she had her great days and she had her good days. And I pulled from that as well. And definitely, my father was always emotionally available. And I really am grateful. I'm a believer in God. And for me, he knew what he was doing when he put my parents together. It was not a perfect marriage.
Yeah.
Definitely. They eventually split up. But I think to have them both as my parents, he just knew the perfect balance, that mix
Yes.
that would you know, he said, I guess, here's a father will give you a lot of love.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I needed. And he also, he was very resilient. So I think that's where I really got it from.
Yeah.
And it's really that. I think it's just making those choices along the way and becoming aware
Yeah.
that, yeah, I'm down now. It doesn't mean that tomorrow I can't get up.
Yeah.
I
And
actually have to get up.
yeah, you got to get up and every time I have this discussion with you, right? And I reflect on how a lot of the stuff when in mental health, it's invisible, right? And I think it takes really brave people like yourself to talk about difficult issues, to make it visible, actually, right? So that we can have a conversation about it. It can be uncomfortable. It could be a little triggering. And just to encourage people to have that conversation and to find the right group around them. So for you, in your case, it was your father, being a great listener as well, right, and being resilient along with you. And so thank you for just surfacing that as well. So I'm sure the audience really appreciated it, but personally for me, I appreciate it as well.
Thank you, Michael. And when I share my story, it's not with the intention that I want to use it. There was a struggle for me. I was like, does this seem like a PR move? You don't know, but really, I just wanted to share it in the same
Yep.
way I wanted to share my, the body love thing. I wanted to make people feel seen, as you said. It's making it visible
Yep.
that it exists.
Yep.
And so many people have reached out to me since and continue to do so. And I would just want, I really want to say this now, that I'm very grateful for this opportunity that Google has given me to share my story, and thinking that I am remarkable enough to share
Yep.
my story.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Iza, for just sharing so openly again. And I wish we had more time to chat, but I'm also mindful that we've got a global audience tuning in and they've got a whole list of questions. So let's jump right into it and send it off. So this is from Catherine Unson. How do you think we can start in the home with building body positivity?
Great question, Catherine. Such a beautiful smile she has. Um, uh, I think acceptance. I'm Filipino, and Filipinos are we point out a lot about one's physical aspects, like everything. Like, it's a greeting almost. You say, "Hi, did you gain weight? Seems like you've gained weight. Did you lose weight?" It's almost like a physical appearance thing. So I think we start by highlighting non-physical traits first, and really, you have kids, Michael. I don't have a kid just yet, but I do have a brother who's 17. And I try to steer conversation beyond the physical, and it's hard for me to do because in my industry I am very guilty of this. I'm very conscious about, of course, the way I look. I mean, people judge me all the time. They'll, but
Yeah.
at the same time, when I'm at home, I try to make it a conscious discussion. I talk openly about it. And maybe I'll learn more once I have a child, on how to properly go about it. But it really, in our household, it's not even so much just about body positivity or self love and acceptance. It's basically, there's a term called body neutrality, where I think it's neither beautiful nor ugly. It just is. I think that's
Yep.
the whole concept behind it. And that's really what I want to emphasize, because there's um there's a the twins, and, I forget their name right now, but they're on Instagram. um I forget the handle, but they've helped me a lot. They have this term called this phrase that says your body is an instrument, not an ornament. And we forget that so much. And when you realize that it is an instrument, it's actually what works for you. So you have to celebrate the things about your body that actually work for you. Like case in point, when I was in the hospital, the whole body love, I guess the whole body love concept had a deeper meaning for me because it was really, I was talking to my lungs. I was asking my lungs to work for me. And I was blown away by the idea of how each organ, we don't even recognize that on a daily basis. Like, hey, hi, my liver, thanks for working for me today. You know,
Yep.
my feet, I'm like, I always say like, I don't have nice feet, but then you know what? They do so much for me. I dance, I work out, I'm able to walk and run. And when you realize that your body is not actually something that was given to you so that people could just stare at it, or you know, for you to decorate your body, and right, your
Yes.
body was given to you so that you can experience this thing called life
Yeah,
and
agreed.
fulfill your purpose. And then, you know, sorry, I just have to say this. You know, for the longest time, Michael, because of all these insecurities in my head, I was so limited. I didn't want to go to the beach. I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to wear a swimsuit in front of people because I was afraid that they would, you know, not accept me and I would be laughed at, and so many things that held me back to what I am here on earth to do.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from my purpose, is to enjoy life.
Yes.
Michael, why you know, every day is a gift. We have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's it. You recognize that your body is working for you.
Yeah.
And
And
I
then,
think that's how you, sorry, please go ahead.
no, and then I was just going to say, and then bringing that back into, you know, the home atmosphere as well. So
Yes.
let's move quickly, I think, to our next question. Let's see, from Jamie Yang. Hi, Iza. Any advice or tips to someone who's at the low point of his or her life and doesn't think they are remarkable?
Wow. I'll tell you, I've been there. And I was there for a long time. And believe. I have to say this, believe. It starts from that belief, and put in the work, because it can't just be a dream. You know, we also have to put in the work. And it's not just about working in an environment, just put in the work inside as well. And yeah, keep that faith alive in your heart. And because you know what, if at my lowest point, if I didn't believe that good things were coming, and that if I didn't believe, let's just put it that way, then I wouldn't be here today talking to all of you. So
Yeah.
I know it sounds like believe, like how, but just do.
Yeah. Yeah. One small step at a time, right?
Yes.
All right. This is from Alexandra Fuentes. Apologies if I got that last name incorrectly. Hi, Iza. What helped you the most to overcome insecurity and a lack of self-confidence?
It's really accepting and embracing my flaws. You know, identifying them first, and really being kind to myself. That's really it. When you love yourself, and I know it's self-love it's a thing, right? But it's so important. Only then can you really come into that power, and accept yourself and embrace yourself and have that confidence. And
Yeah.
I have to say, time because it
Mhm.
again it didn't happen overnight.
Yep.
So just give it time, and again, put in the work. I have to emphasize it because I had to put in the work, and you ask yourself questions. You you really do that, and yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
hope I
really like.
answered it properly.
Yeah.
Oh, I know this person. Hi, Sagar.
Hi, Sagar. What is your one aspiration for the upcoming years?
Sagar, I have more than one. I have a lot. I mean, right? Michael, I mean, if I were to ask you the same thing, we have a lot. But I guess to continue doing this and continue becoming a better version of myself, as long as I am given that gift of waking up in the morning and opening my eyes and taking that breath in and realizing, hey, it's another day and I'm blessed with this day,
Yep.
I'll continue to dream. I do have big dreams, maybe something related to doing more of this, of
Yes.
you know, taking, I guess, sharing what I've been blessed with to a more global audience. Let's put it that way.
And Isa, it's really interesting that sort of you ended on that because it reminded me of one of my professors in school. What they had shared was sometimes for your dreams to become reality, you actually have to share them and share them out loud because only then can people help you. Right. And so, that might be something, also for our audience, like we all have dreams, but sometimes we just gotta get people around us to go and help with it as well. So Anna, with
Yeah.
our last question here, what is the best advice you have ever received and from who?
You know, I didn't receive it, but I always, for some reason, this is the first thing in my head. Hakuna Matata. I don't know. It means no worries. And I just got it from that cartoon. Where is it
Yeah.
from? I forget.
Okay.
Um, Lion King. There. Hakuna Matata. And you know what? No worries. Because you know what? In this present moment, I have no worries. Because the Dalai Lama said, there are only 2 days in a year you can't do anything about, and that's yesterday and tomorrow. So, in this present moment, Hakuna Matata.
All right, Hakuna Matata. Also one of the very fun songs that my family and I danced to during our quarantine period as well. So
I love
um,
it.
yeah, so I think this has been a wonderful 1 hour chat with you, Isa. Thank you.
Thank you.
In our daily rigor and duties, we forget how important it is to take care of ourselves, to talk about the challenges without any shame or guilt, and to remind ourselves that it's okay not to be okay. And I am certain that your generous sharing of how you embrace self-care and self-advocacy to make the invisible visible will encourage many to find their own ways to do the same. And so, just a huge thank you and appreciation from us for sharing your remarkable effort and encouraging everyone to recognize the hero in each of us. Thank you, Isa.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Google, for having me. It's been a great pleasure to connect with all of you today, and I hope to be back. And I hope that one day our paths cross. And please say hi to me when our paths cross, because I would love to give you a hug when the world permits.
When the world permits. Well, thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful time, and thank you for tuning in.